Hi again, and welcome to Steve's Backyard Bonsai. Today I want to show off I call it my cherry trio. These trees started growing in this yard under a cherry tree, a kind of an ugly cherry tree that had looked like big disease patches on it. But these little babies were cute. They were growing up around other uh, uh, obstructions, which gave them a little bit of a form to them, and I liked them very much. So I've had them in this pot now for 2 years. This will be the third season in this pot. I think these roots are pretty well meshed. I don't mind the pot for this right now. I have other plans, but those are going to be later on. You'll notice that these trees probably look the best from this angle. If you're seeing this with these lined up, that's the angle that shows off the trunks the best, I believe. Let me make sure that's what you're seeing. Yeah, pretty much. With that as the front, there are some issues. This branch comes straight out and is pretty much obliterated by this thicker trunk behind it. You do not see it. So if I could bring that branch into that general area and maybe this piece out a little bit with a little bit of a curve, that'd bring this branch heading up. This branch already heads up, and it is going vertical, which I normally would not like, but I think I'm going to be having to cut the end of this branch off. These buds look a little peaked. These look beautiful. So I want to encourage this to go more on the inside like that. It's sort of on the inside of a curve here, but I have nothing in this area. It may come off later on if the canopy gets nicer, and that is my goal. I've been working on ramification here, and I'm getting it somewhat. This has started to ramify since the last pruning. I've got buds going in either direction here. That could mean branching. I will be doing a little bit of pruning on this, cut off some stubs, and to look at the structure in general. I want to get a little bit of wire on it and try to redirect this branch in particular. A couple of other things I'd like to point out on here. Let me get a pointer. All right, if you're looking at these trees the way I believe the front should be perceived, you see a branch here that I want to develop and move out. You see a branch here that I want to develop and go into this direction, kind of to mirror the lower branches on this tree. Now, I could cut these back because there's a little branch growing behind this one. You got this little branch down below that kind of goes in a direction that is not going to be in your face. But I do want to bring this branch more over and perhaps up a little bit. I don't want to wire these trunks anymore. These all came this way, if I can use that term. This one I tried to bend, and I left the wire on just a little bit too long. You might be able to see a little spiral going up here. I think that'll be gone in another season or two, but I don't want to wire it down here. I just want the trunks to thicken up naturally. I'm going to keep the canopy just about this high. These cherry tree leaves can get a little bit large, and I'm not sure about whether or not you can defoliate mid-season and get a second flush of growth. If you know the answer to that question, put it in the comments below. These are pretty sturdy. This one's a little bit loose in the pot. My idea for this is this will be off-center in a slightly larger oval pot, a little bit more up on a hill. So what I want to see happen is the roots really mesh together. Like I said, this is the third season in this pot. I think the roots have meshed, but I don't believe they're far enough along. What I want to do is to be able to pull this up, flatten the root base down, and have it flowing outwards on a hilltop, maybe expose some roots, and these will be a little trio of cherry trees, my cherry trio. So with that in mind, let me get some wire on here and see about moving some of these branches. Okay, it took me a little while to figure out how I was going to wrap this wire around. This is 2mm wire, and I'm going to be moving it in that direction. So I want the wire to go in the direction that I'm moving. I've heard this explained to me a number of times, but I want to try and do a demonstration of it, and hopefully I'm doing it correctly. Just so that you see what I'm talking about when I say going in the direction that I want to move the branch. Now this is going to be a very loose cage. I don't want it even touching the branch if possible. It won't be possible, but that's what I'm going for. And like I mentioned before, or I think I mentioned before, it looks like some of the ends of this branch are going to have to be trimmed off, so I'm not going to go that far with the wire. I do want to get it in between here and here. The reason I'm not going in fast motion here is because I don't have a lot to wire on this tree. And maybe I will go right to there and use this only as an anchor for now. Meaning the dead part of the branch as an anchor. All right, I'll trim that off later. All right, so let's see if I can get some motion going here. I want to line this up for you all. Then I'm going to step in and take a look at it myself to see if I've done it. And a little bit more down low, closer to the tree. Closer to the trunk, I mean. All right, let me trim the excess off of that, excess wire, and do a proper termination of that wire if I can, without harming the branch below, the little young branch below it. Yeah, that branch is dead from that point out. I got to get another one of these pliers because I often have to go in the house and get my electrical pliers. Let me see what that looks like. Maybe come down a little bit with it. What do you think? And over and up. I think, no, I don't think go down at all. I think go up with it. Or maybe down and up. Down. And then up. Yeah, I'll have to train this branch a little bit over, but let's let it grow. And let me trim off the excess there, excess branch. This part is dead. It's dead a little bit lower than that. There's a little bit of green on there, but I'm not worried about it. I'm going to cut it to this branch here when I do cut it. Yeah, I'm liking that. The next thing I want to tackle is these branches up top. Also, I want to bring them a little bit further into the composition like that, which will have to be accomplished with a twist of this top. I can see that right now. Okay, let me figure out how to do that, and I'll get back to you. Well, this is a bit embarrassing. I'll put in all of the fast motion stuff, but in an effort that I would not run out of battery on my microphone, I turned it off in between, and then I forgot to turn it back on. Pretty dumb? You bet it is. But this is the finished product. This is what I am going to be satisfied with for this growing season. I hope you like it. It's got a lot of growing to do, but it has some great potential as a group planting. Once again, I appreciate you coming along and subscribing to my channel. I'm overwhelmed by the responses. Thank you so much. And I really do appreciate you keeping me company in my backyard.